Have you ever wondered why some people seem to keep sharp, clear eyesight well into their 70s and 80s, while others start struggling to read the menu at 50? It's not just genetics. A big part of it comes down to something surprisingly simple: what's on your plate and how consistently you take care of your body over the decades. Tonight, I want to tell you about one small, unassuming fruit that keeps showing up in eye health research, not as a miracle cure, not as a magic pill, just as one of the most nutrient-dense, evidence-backed foods you can add to your evening routine. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which fruit researchers keep coming back to, why the nutrients in it matter for your eyes, how it might even help you sleep a little better, and just as important, what this fruit can't do, so you're not left with unrealistic expectations. Before we go further, a quick note. This video shares general health information based on published research. It's not a substitute for personalized medical advice. If you have specific eye concerns, please talk with your doctor or an eye care specialist, especially if you've noticed any recent changes in your vision. The fruit is kiwi. Yes, the small, fuzzy green one that often gets overlooked in the produce aisle in favor of apples and bananas. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Here we go, another fruit being oversold as a cure-all. But there's one detail most people miss when they hear claims like this. It's not really about the fruit being magical. It's about what's actually inside it and how those specific nutrients interact with your eyes over time. Kiwi is one of the most concentrated natural sources of vitamin C of any common fruit, even higher, gram for gram, than an orange. It also contains lutein and zeaxanthin, two plant compounds your eyes naturally store in a part of the retina called the macula, which is responsible for your sharp central vision, the kind you rely on for reading, recognizing faces, and driving. Here's the detail that resolves that question of why this matters. Your eyes don't just need vitamin C and these carotenoids occasionally, they need them consistently, over years, because they build up gradually in the tissue of your eye over time, almost like a slow, steady deposit into a savings account. That's why a single serving once in a while won't do much, but working a small amount into your regular routine, week after week, year after year, can genuinely matter down the road. Let's get specific, because vague health claims aren't helpful, and you deserve real information, not just reassuring words. A major research effort called the AREDS2 study, funded by the National Institutes of Health, followed thousands of participants over several years. It found that lutein and zeaxanthin were linked to a lower risk of the disease progressing in people who already had signs of age-related macular degeneration, or AMD. AMD is one of the leading causes of vision loss after age 60, and it affects the sharp central vision we just talked about, which is why researchers have paid so much attention to these particular nutrients. Separately, several long-term observational studies have found that people with higher dietary vitamin C intake tend to have a lower risk of cataracts, which is the clouding of the eye's natural lens that becomes increasingly common as we age, often leading to blurry vision, glare sensitivity, and difficulty seeing at night. But here's the detail most people miss, and it's an important one. These studies show a link, not a guarantee. Nutrition is one piece of a much bigger picture that includes genetics, UV exposure over your lifetime, smoking history, blood sugar control, and overall cardiovascular health. No food, kiwi included, can promise you'll never develop cataracts or macular degeneration. What the evidence does support is that these nutrients play a meaningful protective role over time, working alongside everything else you do for your health, not instead of it. Now, you might be wondering, why eat it at night specifically? Is there something magical about nighttime for your eyes? Honestly, no. And I want to be straight with you here rather than stretch the truth just to make a catchier title. There's no strong evidence that eating a fruit at a specific hour changes how it benefits your eyes. So why the before bed idea? Two real reasons. First, it's simply an easy habit to keep. A small kiwi as an evening snack is low in sugar compared to most desserts. And it's easy to remember if you tie it to something you already do every night, like brushing your teeth or turning down the lights. Building any healthy habit usually comes down to convenience and consistency, and an evening kiwi checks both boxes. Second, and this is genuinely interesting, a small early study found that people who ate kiwi nightly reported falling asleep faster and sleeping more soundly, possibly related to natural serotonin compounds and antioxidants in the fruit. I want to be honest that this was a small study with a limited number of participants, so we shouldn't treat it as settled science the way we can with the AREDS2 findings. But it's a promising area, and better sleep is, on its own, connected to overall eye comfort, reduced eye strain, and even how well your eyes recover from a long day of screen use or reading. So, how much kiwi are we talking about? Research amounts vary, but most studies use somewhere around 1 to 2 kiwis a day to see measurable nutrient benefits. There's no need to overdo it, and eating large quantities won't multiply the benefit. More isn't always better when it comes to nutrition, and kiwi is no exception. But there's a detail worth mentioning here, too. Kiwi isn't the only source of these nutrients, and it doesn't have to be a solo act in your diet. Leafy greens like spinach and kale are actually the richest dietary sources of lutein and zeaxanthin, even more concentrated than kiwi. Eggs are another surprisingly good source, since the lutein in egg yolks appears to be easily absorbed by the body. Oranges, bell peppers, and strawberries are also high in vitamin C, so if kiwi isn't your favorite, you have options. Think of kiwi less like a silver bullet and more like a convenient, tasty way to check two nutritional boxes at once, especially if you're not a big fan of leafy greens or find it hard to work vegetables into every meal. It's an easy win, not a required one. While we're on the subject, it's worth mentioning a few other everyday habits that support eye health alongside good nutrition, since no single food works in isolation. Staying hydrated matters more than people realize, as dehydration can contribute to dry, irritated eyes. Wearing sunglasses that block UV rays when you're outdoors helps protect the lens and retina from cumulative sun damage over the years. And if you spend long hours on screens, taking regular breaks, following something like the 20-20-20 rule, looking at something 20 feet away for 20 seconds every 20 minutes can help reduce eye strain and fatigue. I want to be really clear about what kiwi cannot do, because your trust matters more to me than a dramatic headline or an exaggerated claim. Kiwi will not reverse existing vision loss. It will not replace regular eye exams, which remain the single best way to catch problems early, often before you'd notice any symptoms yourself. It will not prevent every eye condition, since some causes of vision problems have nothing to do with diet at all. And it is absolutely not a substitute for treatment if you're already noticing changes in your vision. Blurriness, dark spots, sudden flashes of light, or any rapid change should always be checked by a professional promptly, not managed through diet alone. What the science does support is this: consistent intake of vitamin C and lutein-rich foods as part of an overall healthy diet is associated with better long-term eye health outcomes. That's a real evidence-based benefit, just not a magical one, and it's worth appreciating for what it actually is. Let's make this simple and doable, because information is only useful if you can actually apply it. Try adding a kiwi to your evening routine a few times a week, not necessarily every single night, since consistency matters more than perfection. Pair it with other lutein-rich foods like spinach, kale, or eggs during the day for a fuller nutrient picture, rather than relying on one food to do all the work. Remember that eye health is cumulative, built up slowly over years. So this isn't about one dramatic change. It's about small, steady habits repeated over time. And keep up with regular eye exams, especially after age 50, since many eye conditions, including glaucoma and early macular degeneration, develop gradually and without noticeable symptoms in their early stages. Everyone's body and eyes are different, and that's worth repeating. Your genetics, medications, other health conditions like diabetes or high blood pressure, and your existing eye history all matter more than any single food choice. If you have diabetes, a family history of eye disease, or you've noticed any changes in your vision recently, please talk to your doctor or an eye specialist rather than relying on diet changes alone. Diet is a helpful, supportive piece of the puzzle, not a replacement for professional care. So the next time you're looking for a simple, low-effort way to support your eyes as you age, a small kiwi in the evening isn't a bad place to start. Not a miracle, just good, steady nutrition backed by real research and grounded in what we actually know rather than what sounds impressive. Small, consistent choices like this one tend to add up in ways that matter far more over a lifetime than any single dramatic change ever could. If you found this helpful, consider subscribing. I'm putting together more videos like this, breaking down what's actually backed by science versus what's just internet noise, so you can make informed, confident choices about your health without the hype or the exaggerated promises so common online. Thanks for spending this time with me today. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.